Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a movie that is aptly named because holy this is bonkers. Doctor Strange, with the help of mystical allies both new and old, traverses the mind-bending and dangerous realities of the multiverse to face off against his most dangerous foe yet, the Scarlet Witch. Before I properly get started today with my review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, big thank you to Disney and Marvel UK for granting me a chance to see this one early, and I want to know your reviews for this film. Drop them down in the comments below. Let me know all your thoughts about it, but no spoilers just yet. We'll have a spoiler review for it in the coming days. And of course, if you like these reviews, if you like movies and TV, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button so you don't miss any future conversation on your favorite movies, TV, and I just reviewed the original Doctor Strange, and you can find that review right up here. Going into this film, I was incredibly excited. This was my most anticipated Marvel movie of the year, and it did not disappoint. This is a mind-bending, wacky, whimsical, horrifying adventure through multiple realities delivered in only a way Sam Raimi could deliver. His voice is yelling through the screen. He's got his stamp all over this. There's a sequence in this film involving musical notes that is just a chef's kiss that only Sam Raimi's imagination could have thought of that. Furthermore, this is through and through a horror movie. This is a monster movie and our heroes are running away from the monster. It just starts and it goes and it doesn't stop. And I really respect this film for that, where it really handles the exposition and the setup well and doesn't really waste a lot of time. I know a lot of us, myself included, were somewhat worried about the 2-hour 6-minute runtime, but the film really makes it work in its favor, and it's never afraid to cause some jump scares. Sam Raimi's wacky, weird visuals are something unique that only he can think of, with his weird Dutch angles, his awe transitions, his fades in and out of the screen, and it's also wonderful to see that makes this film look so distinct, and it's also colorful. The different dimensions that our characters go through, we go through with them, are so wonderful to explore. It's an absolute joyride to go through this as Raimi delivers insane action and his absolutely wonderful horror elements that only he can deliver. And if I'm talking about Sam Raimi, I gotta talk about Danny Elfman. His score is so great in this film, playing on some familiar tracks, both from the MCU and from other places. It's playful, it's emotive, it's horrifying, it's dreadful. It's got all these levels, all these emotions imbued into it that just make it so fun. They add another dimension to the film itself. And I can't talk about a Doctor Strange movie without talking about Doctor Strange himself, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. Yes, we see different versions of this character, and Benedict revels in this joyride of a performance that he has to play on so many levels. And there's a really compelling thematic through line with him, where he's in a position in his life where he's probably very satisfied with where he's at, but not happy. And it's the search for that happiness that creates this thematic through line of regret and temptation that makes proceedings very compelling, even within this fantastical, wacky journey through multiple realities and multiple versions of himself. What haunts him within that makes this really interesting to watch binds him and Wanda together. Elizabeth Olsen continues to kill it on screen. Once more, she delivers a devastatingly layered performance where she is the monster, she is the Michael Myers in this situation. She's absolutely terrifying from beginning to end, and yet she has a purpose. It's impossible not to feel compelled, as just with her lines, she delivers this fragility and vulnerability where effortlessly you feel the range of emotions just hearing her talk or just looking into her eyes. It's astounding to see her play this character in such a relatable way, even when in full-on villain mode, which leads to some glorious violence on screen. This film is not rated R, you're not going to get literal guts on screen, but the suggested violence is so much more fun. Your imagination makes the violence in this film much worse than it could have possibly been if they filmed it. The way Wanda just escalates what she's willing to do to get what she wants, and we see her get more unhinged and proverbially uncaged through the film, just creates a ton of tension throughout that Raimi precisely uses to elevate the suspense and the intensity as the film goes, and it becomes almost unpredictable to see and think what Wanda will do next. Also, with the violence, we get a ton of fun visuals, and this film is just incredibly imaginative with the worlds it visits, how it creates these worlds, how it differentiates them one from the other, and the little sprinkles of fun stuff that we get in those worlds that I will be talking about in my spoiler review. And one of the most fun powers to see on screen is America Chavez's ability to open doors through the multiverse, making it possible for her and Steven to travel through these different realities, meeting all sorts of different characters that again we'll talk about in the spoiler review. And so the fun adventure is there. The opening of the film, the first act, the second act, it's all fantastic. I absolutely love this film until the third act, which is where we meet some of our issues. One of my fears going into this film is that it would feel more like a Wanda movie, not so much a Stephen Strange film with everything that's going on. Not really. This film is very restrained, this film is very controlled, even with all the fun that it's having. The third act, however, feels rather rushed. There are some script decisions on there that take away from its most compelling elements that were working up until then, and while it goes in the right directions, I feel that eventually it doesn't allow us to rest enough with the character resolutions to feel the proper weight of it, to feel the proper emotionality of it all. So while I think the setup is fantastic, the build is equally as great, if not even more excellent. I feel the way it pays it all off just slightly undercuts the impact of it all, and it's never as good as what came before, where I absolutely loved it up until then, and then I just like it, which makes for an overall really good experience, just shy of truly great. Once more, this Doctor Strange movie is a kaleidoscopic trip ride that is visually stunning. It's just fun to watch, with its horror elements, with its great action, with its really unique sense of humor. This film just has fun with this incredibly limitless premise and takes advantage of all of it, never at the cost of story. This is why I respect Marvel so much. They go crazy yet restrained, where they always serve the story first, and if something isn't there to serve the story, this film doesn't have it. It's what makes me love the MCU so much. The way they keep unapologetically diving deep into this weirdest shit from the comics with multiverse and alternate versions of characters and these odd MacGuffins that bring all this fantasy to life. They fully embrace the fantasy of it all, kind of making Sam Raimi the perfect fit for this film. Yet, they find compelling ways to ground it all through the fantastical characters, putting them and the story first. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is not only a compelling narrative of regret and temptation, it's a phantasmagorical expansion on the MCU. Sam Raimi delivers a psychedelic horror adventure that is incredibly imaginative and redefines the limitations of fantasy filmmaking, which is kind of what I live for. I'm giving Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a B+. But those are only my thoughts on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Anything and everything down there, except spoilers. We'll leave that for Thursday evening. Thank you so much for watching. Once more, thanks to Disney and Marvel UK for granting me a chance to see this one early. And I cannot wait for our discussion down there and in the spoiler review. I hope to see you in both of those. And don't forget that I reviewed not only the first Doctor Strange movie, but all the X-Men movies ahead of this one. I hope to see you in all of those. Until the next one, love each other and love the movies.